Hey there guys, it's Luke here, your digital concierge at Gramophone. Recently, you may have watched our video on the all-new JBL Charge 5, but we figured, what are the differences between the 4 and the 5? And if you have a Charge 4, should you upgrade to the Charge 5? So today we're going to break down every little difference we could find between the two, and then I'll give you my opinion on what I think are the differences in the sound. But before we get into it, make sure you guys get subscribed to the Gramophone channel, click that bell notification icon because there's a lot of great product highlights coming up and a lot of exciting stuff to see. The Charge 4, the Charge 5, how do they stack up? Both these products feature that famous JBL Base Radiator. They are both waterproof and dustproof, and they both feature a 20-hour battery life. On the Charge 5, this features a 20mm tweeter, which the Charge 4 does not feature at all, already giving the 5 a big edge in total clarity because having separate drivers, as we've learned from some of our other speaker reviews, is essential for getting a good frequency range and good clarity. The 5 also has a very similar, mind you, but slightly larger woofer. This is a 52mm by 90mm elliptical woofer. The Charge 4, again, very similar with a 50 by 90 elliptical woofer, but the 5 squeezes out those 2 extra millimeters. Every little bit we can get helps. Adding up the total power of the 5, this can produce up to 40 watts of power. Adding up the total power of the 4, this produces up to 30 watts of power. Those 10 extra watts get you just that little bit of extra loudness. Now, despite that increase in wattage on the 5, it's still rated at 20 hours of battery life, demonstrating that JBL squeezed a little more efficiency out of this unit as well. Now, this one's a funny one. Let's talk about the frequency response. On the 4, the frequency response is rated from 60 Hz up to 20,000 Hz, or 20 kilohertz. On the 5, it's rated at 65 Hz to 20 kilohertz. Now you hear that and think, Luke, why would you say that? That makes the 4 sound better. On paper, it seems that way at first, but what JBL did with the 5 is they got a little more conservative and tightened up that base rating, and I can tell you that the slightly larger woofer does improve the overall quality of it a little bit. And it's honestly nice to see that because I like conservative ratings. That way you know that you're not being oversold something. Nobody likes being overpromised and underdelivered, and I think that's what JBL was going for here. But having a slightly larger woofer and now that separate tweeter, the sound quality is all around much better on the 5. So with that said, don't sweat those 5 Hz on paper. That's not something you're going to be able to discern, and the overall strengths of the 5 more than make up for it anyway. One of the best changes on the Charge 5, and it actually suits the name of Charge 5, is that this features Bluetooth version 5.1, which is currently the latest, the greatest version of Bluetooth. It's going to have the best signal transmission quality, and it also has the longest range. And one thing JBL does really well with all their progressive generations is keep up with the ever-evolving landscape that is Bluetooth connectivity. Most manufacturers do that just fine, but JBL's always ahead of the curve. New Bluetooth comes out, they're on top of it. On the Charge 4, for example, this uses Bluetooth version 4.2. Still excellent, still does the job 100%, but those incremental improvements really do matter for something, and Bluetooth is well on its way to eventually catching up with wired connections for maximum quality, and 5.1 is the next stepping stone there. Another really handy feature JBL added to the 5 that's completely brand new is that this can serve as a power bank. So you can take advantage of that big 20-hour battery and use it to charge your phone back up if need be. On the 4, no such feature exists. A portable speaker and a portable battery for your phone for roughly the same price? Value equation. The Charge 5 also features JBL's new Party Boost feature, which allows you to easily pair multiple Charge 5s together, either to run in stereo, which sounds surprisingly good by the way, or to have multiple Charge 5s across different rooms all synced up. That way it makes it really easy to control whatever party or event that you guys are currently enjoying. The 4 has JBL's older Connect Plus feature that, again, while it did allow you some sync-ups between multiple speakers, it couldn't do things like stereo, and it doesn't have the flexibility that Party Boost does. And let me squash this right here. If you already have a 4, unfortunately no, meaning that they are different types of systems and different forms of connectivity. The Connect on the 4 cannot sync up to the Party Boost on the 5. Now, one other thing that I want to mention, the 4 has a 3.5mm port, the 5 does not. Why would the 5 lose the 3.5? I mean, isn't that kind of handy? Well, yeah, but for Party Boost to work out and to have good and reliable stereo connectivity, it all had to be wireless. So it was a worthwhile sacrifice to give you better connectivity across the port. What's similar is that the Charge 5 keeps its overall shape from the Charge 4. As you can see, first glance, they both look almost the same. What ain't broke wasn't fixed, and the Charge 4 was already an excellent design, keeping it on the 5 just with a couple refinements. The other thing is the button layout, pretty much the same, just noticing the Party Boost button is a little different on the 5 since that feature completely changed, but otherwise, excellent buttons didn't need to be changed. And while I did mention earlier, because it kind of serves as both internal and external, both of these feature that great JBL Base Radiator that you see on all their mobile products, pushing that base a little bit further. Now, looking at the base radiators, functionally, they're pretty much the same, but you can see where the design has changed a little bit. On the Charge 4, one side says JBL, this is relatively untextured. The other side has the play button exclamation point, and this is pretty much completely untextured. Looking at the Charge 5, this has the play button exclamation on both sides, giving a nice symmetry to the Charge 5 that I like better. And notice how this has the metallic sheen to it, and this is completely textured. I can feel all the lines and edges on this logo, and even behind it, I can feel the cross hatching on the actual passive radiator cone. So while very similar, it is a nice evolution, that little incremental improvement that in both form and feel is just better. It's cleaner, it's more refined. I like the symmetry, and I like that they put a little bit more effort into just making this something better to look at that you can even feel on your fingertips. Okay, now looking at the front of both units, you can see that we have the smaller JBL orange logo on the 4 with the larger JBL lettered logo on the 5. Again, I think this is a nice improvement. It's more visible. I think it actually looks a little bit cleaner. While the orange logo is very nice, this clashes less with whatever color option you pick. So again, I'm a big fan of that cleaner look. We can see where this has relatively the same profile, but on the 4, this is again a little bit less textured, whereas on the 5, you can see more prominent feet on each of the ends, giving the 5 a little bit more stability than the 4 if you turn it up vertically. So again, just a small quality of life improvement that all adds up to be better. Speaking of feet, that's another big difference between the two units. You can see very clearly that the foot on the 4 is just this single solid piece on the bottom, whereas on the 5 you have this hatch pattern foot that, again, I think makes for a little bit more of a stable speaker and slightly cleans up the look of the 5 again as you have a less prominent foot showing through the bottom. Now, both of these have an LED charge indicator for their battery. On the 4, it is right here on the top of the foot, down here on the bottom. On the 5, you'll notice that it is this little bar right there under the B in the JBL logo. On the 4, with the charge lights being hidden so low, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to see even when you're looking straight at it. I often find you gotta tip it up and look. Whereas with the 5 being right there, higher up on the body and oriented vertically, it's very apparent from almost any angle that you're looking at it. It's just more useful. On the Charge 4, all of your ports are hidden under the waterproof flap here. You've got your 3.5mm, your USB-A, and your USB-C, all hidden right there. The 5 does something kind of cool in my opinion. You still have a port to keep the USB-A safe from water, but when you seal that flap up, you'll notice that the USB-C is still exposed, and this USB-C has got that nice orange JBL highlight, making it very visible, and that must mean only one thing. This USB-C port is waterproof straight up, which is a small but awesome change, because the less that you have to worry about concealing or covering up, the more convenient, the better. One note about color. Notice that I have the black and white camo Charge 4 with me today, and of course the standard black Charge 5. JBL is known for always having a wide variety of color options for all of their products. Now, it is worth noting that the Charge 4 has a bit of a wider roster than the Charge 5 does, but the 5 still brings a great assortment to the mix, so you're bound to find something that you really like. So between the 4 and the 5, they're both charges, right? But the 5 has a noticeable edge in being more crisp and a little bit more clear, and I think it all comes down to the fact that this has a discrete tweeter, whereas this does not. Listening to, say, John Mayer, for example, sounds good on the 4, but his voice can sometimes sound a little bit muddled, like a little bit lost in the weeds. On the 5, within not even 10 seconds of listening, it was like, yep, that's better. His voice is more forward, it's more crisp. So the 5 is a definite improvement by adding in that discrete tweeter, a little bit closer to that goal of being able to stick a bookshelf speaker in your pocket and take it with you. But all that said, guys, you deserve to be able to hear this improvement in sound for yourself. So head on over to skybygramophone.com, where for just under $200, you can pick up a Charge 5 for yourself. After a secure checkout, you can have it shipped fast and free straight to your door. Also, guys, be sure to stop by our showroom locations. You can find us in Timonium, Columbia, and Gaithersburg, Maryland. We have a lot of JBL products on display that you can demo. And while you're out and about, be sure to go visit our beautiful kitchen design center in Hunt Valley, Maryland. You can also find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Pals, Twitter, and even a few others. Just check the links down below. If you need help coming up with project ideas, need to schedule a service request, or would like to speak to one of our hi-fi home theater and interior design experts, get inspired at Gramophone.com. And of course, ask at Gramophone.com if you have any questions for me regarding anything you've seen here on the channel. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, drop a comment down below, and subscribe to the Gramophone channel for all of your audio and home theater needs. And I want to hear from you guys, do you like this format? Do you want to see more comparison videos like this? And what other products do you want to see from us in the future? As always guys, thank you for watching. It's a pleasure and I love doing this for you. Be seeing you.